a little podcast on not just diabetes, but I guess hyperglycemia, insulin, magnesium's role in reducing the problems of blood sugar, excess blood sugar. So we know that magnesium plays a role in reducing the glycogen, the excess blood sugar in the blood, and so it's converted into glycogen and stored in the liver. And this is like the key factor in how it cleans out the blood and allows for a better, less sticky delivery vehicle for the nutrients and the oxygen and everything else that the blood vehicles. It's very important that the blood be in a right sort of homeostasis, not only in a mineral way, magnetic way, electromagnetic way, but even in the platelet formation and everything else. So this is part of how magnesium, with its natural viscosity and water-bearing capacity, allows for a sort of traction and a sort of natural viscosity to be there present in the tissues themselves, so that things don't stick or bump or cut or, right? So this is a softening, elastifying effect that magnesium has on everything. And this this kind of elastic effect, I mean, you could sense it in the teeth, for example. Your teeth are really hard because of calcium, but they're flexible because of magnesium. So together they were strong, right? So there's this kind of preservation that happens through that elasticity, flexibility. So this is going to play a key role. One thing to note is that insulin is dependent on magnesium dependent enzymes for its fabrication in the pancreas. And then insulin also comes and helps bring magnesium, well, it helps bring sugar and magnesium into the cells. It's like a key to the cell, and it helps bring those in. So on one end, that's the whole thing about magnesium, it's doing two levels always. So it's always doing the structural end, and then even in the creation of the pancreas to allow for these enzymes to properly work, having magnesium locally distributed, and then the creation of that hormone that then goes and helps to assist magnesium even further and downstream, I guess you could say. So this is probably the most important factor as far as blood goes for what magnesium does. I mean, it also works with thromboxane and regulates the platelet overproduction, or it also helps with down-regulating or up-regulating the immune response, the innate immune response. It has other features. And as far as inflammation goes, I mean, because we could go into like all these studies and all these peptidas and oxidas, and we could be lost in all this stuff. But if you could understand it more simply, the viscosity is playing a role in all of that inflammation and all of this underlying premise of how magnesium helps the body. It has a lot to do with this viscosity and this preservation, this flexibility that it offers. Like even the platelets, the way they're shaped, these like disco seat, kind of round, perfect little donut kind of things, without a hole. But these can have a malformation as well, and they can also have lack of flexibility within themselves to onload and offload the oxygen, to not have the bonds are too tight, then it can't get that back off, and so it's like it's wasting energy. So it's like it needs to have the right amount of stickiness, the very right amount of traction and viscosity, not something that's overly viscous where it's all slippery and nothing can be controlled, but something that allows for a traction viscosity is what I'm calling it, which has the mineral backbone, lattice. And so that's what this magnesium chloride, transdermal magnesium chloride, can do. It comes through the skin in that way, and you can feel it on your skin that way, but also in the body at the cellular level. So this is going to be a key feature in not only diabetes, which is well known, but in all sorts of blood regulation, controlling the blood. It's also a natural blood thinner due to these properties. Instead of having to take all of these other blood thinners, and I'm not trying to impose that into a typical, like, I guess you could say, allopathic medical prescription, But this thing in a natural state, for everyone who's not in the state of urgency per se, it can be really helpful to keep these levels high. So just trying to help people defend themselves and get themselves free of medical slavery as well, and be able to find ways to defend themselves from within, instead of having to wait until we go down this pharmaceutical slavery model that usually picks up around the age of 60 or something, people, or even earlier, or whenever the train crashes. So we don't want to go that way. We want to try to help the body be strong all the way through. So one little message on magnesium coming up. When it comes to magnesium, always get the right stuff. Do not go cheap in this area. There's a lot of stuff out there that's $1.50 a week, and we're $3 a week, so you could say it's double the price. But there's a lot of fake stuff out there, even stuff that's pretending to be Zechstein. It's called ancient Permian, genuine Zechstein. There's all sorts of labels out there, and they're self-certified. And the only real official seal that you could find from the Vendam, which is a city in Holland from which this natural salt pillar formation is, where you find this natural state magnesium chloride stone called bischofite in large quantity, is using the logo Zechstein Inside. So if the Zechstein Inside logo doesn't appear, is not on the bottle, it's not from the city of Vendam. It's not the real thing. It's not even from Holland. So there's a lot of fake imports. The word Zechstein can't be controlled. So there's a lot of fake UPS, USP, pharmaceutical grade, and all these different companies, Spray and Permian and Trans, Ancient, and you see these different labelings, and they're using the word Zechstein abusively. So the only way to guarantee the right thing is probably to spend a little bit more. The thing is it's not that expensive. It's $3 a week to knock out the #1 deficiency in the world. And so it's not something that we should play with just getting super cheap on. It's kind of like getting really cheap on our salt and eggs and milk and bread and things like that are so basic. We want to spend money in these areas to where we can ensure a better product, because when it's not coming from the Zechstein Inside and that logo's not on the bottle, first off, it's solvent extracted, it's chemically treated, and so therefore it's not the same at the molecular level as far as chelation, uptake, bonding, conjugation, and all these other membrane transport and connectivity and calcium channel blocking. All the things that magnesium can do are limited by the fact that it's been chemically treated, and it's no longer, I guess you could say, sticky. It's sticky as a substance no matter what they do with it, but it's no longer sticky to a molecular level and able to chelate and make those bonds and conjugations in the right way. So you want to get something that's done right by nature and pure. And so this guarantees that. Not only does it guarantee that, but it also guarantees that people aren't mixing some good stuff with some bad stuff and then selling that as Zechstein or whatever, because as soon as the label, the logo's not on the bottle, you can't rescan that bottle and tell what it is. So there's a way to just keep this fakery going. And so we want to try to find the right stuff. I guess most people, it's not that they're all malintentioned, but it's just that there's this kind of lack of consciousness around the fact that magnesium, oh, it's all the same, it's just a mineral, do what you want with it, but it's not. And so the same with milk, the same with bread, everything is different. You just can't say pasteurized like milk from these industrialized cattle is the same as small Jersey cattle, raw milk, and so it's just worlds apart. And so don't be fooled. So get the right stuff. That's for the first part. The second part is it's in glass. So if you want the right stuff, get it in glass. These glass blue bottles, and this is the signature series of the Zechstein Inside, as far as that type of quality that we could use to make sure the product has no endocrine disruptors, no chemical microplastic leaching into the product, and then that, once again, going into the body. Now, you don't want that in the body because we're trying to get those out of the body, and magnesium conjugations help pull that out of the body through enzymes. And so we don't want to bring some in at the molecular level on that same molecule. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. So do the right thing, get it done right, and get the right price point. $25 for 2 months is very cheap, and it's a good price point to cover the deficiency of the century, basically. So come check us out at theheartoftradition.com and get your own.